Welcome to this episode of your favorite interior design podcast. I'm your host, Kelly Stewart, interior designer, over-the-top maximalist, and firm believer that animal print, when done well, should be considered a neutral. This podcast is for anybody that has ever looked around their space and thought, this is shit. You deserve better. And through my eclectic career, including multifamily housing, hospitality, senior living, and high-end residential, I've learned that confidence is key. We'll be here each week with industry experts to share their experiences and motivate you to take action and create a space that feels good and makes you proud. I promise it'll be a little bit cussy, a lot sassy, and we'll have a ton of fun. Thank you so much for joining us for this episode of your favorite interior design podcast. Today on the show, we have Oasis Luxury Smart Homes. Welcome, guys.
Hi.
Hi.
And this is the first time that we've had more than one person on the podcast at the same time. So we have 3 guests with us today. So it's going to be fun. We might get a little crazy here. The first time that Kelly and I ever met, we did get in the bathtub together. So you never know what's going to happen. Good thing we're on Zoom together only this time. So anyways, I just want to open up and have you guys tell us a little bit about Oasis Luxury Smart Homes and about yourselves, actually. And then we can talk about smart home technology.
Cool. Yeah. Well, I'm Kelly with Oasis. I get to do our business development and just work with trade partners like yourself, Stephanie. And we cover a lot in home technology. I'm going to let the guys go into that because it's a vast space and it's a really custom approach. So I'll let them talk about that.
My name is Scott. I've been with Oasis for a little over a year now. I've been working in the low voltage and home technology industry for going on 20 years at this point. And absolutely love what I do and happy to be here. Thanks for having us.
All right.
Hey, my name is Jeremy. I've been with Oasis since last year, but I've been in the industry for a little over 10 years now. And same thing, just really happy about where we're at and some cool stuff that we're doing to drive some stuff forward. So excited to talk to you.
Well, I love it. I'm so excited to have you guys here because, I got so excited the first time that, Kelly and I met at an ASID function, which for anybody who's not in the industry, that's American Society for Interior Designers. And we were at a bath and plumbing showroom. And so, they were trying to get everybody to take pictures in the bathtub and, have a little bit of fun. And nobody would do it except for Kelly and I. And we're both Stewarts. So I call her the other Stewart in my phone because she spells her name the different way. But it's okay. We still haven't become friends.
Still be friends. It's fine. Yeah,
it's fine. And then I attended, you guys hosted at your Scottsdale location. So you guys are in Arizona here in Scottsdale. And then you also have another location. Where in Southern California is it?
Go ahead.
We're both being polite.
That's so nice. You don't have to be polite.
In Corona Del Mar. So Orange County.
Okay, yeah. Perfect. And so so you were here in Scottsdale hosting an event for American Society of Interior Designers. And that's the first time actually that I got to go to the showroom. I had seen your products online and I had, started following you guys immediately and watching what you guys were doing. But then when I went to the showroom for the event, it was so cool. You had just installed those wood slat panels in the theater room and the lighting inside. And if anybody's watching on YouTube, Jeremy has it on his screen. So if you're not watching this on YouTube and you're just listening on to the podcast, head over to YouTube to your favorite interior design podcast page or Stewart Design Co. and you'll be able to see what I'm talking about. But the wood slat panels, they're vertical panels and they have space in between. And what they've done, Jeremy can talk a little bit more about this or maybe Scott, but they put channels in between with lenses over. And so that's one of the coolest things that you guys showed me. But there's so much more. When we were at the showroom, it was like every little room we walked into, something was super cool. And I had just specified for a client those square recessed can lights. And I was so excited to see them in person. They're so smooth and cool and sleek. So anyways, I was really excited when you guys said yes to come on and talk to us about some of that stuff. But so what are some of the fun lighting things that you guys are doing right now, or something that's really cool that's hot?
Well, probably most of what you were just talking about is a lot of linear lighting. So we're seeing a lot of linear lighting being used as a primary light source. So you can create these cool custom designs, custom colors, and still have the full functionality of doing a circadian rhythm. So indoor health is becoming a more and more prominent thing people are requesting. So we can do that with the linear lighting, and we see people just fully eliminating downlights. So so you're going to types of systems where you're creating multiple layers of light when you talk about toe kicks and under cabinet, and then adding linear lighting to the ceilings, and doing that all with linear lighting and doing it with multiple types of functionality as well.
Yeah, that's so cool. I saw so these light channels, and when you're talking about linear lighting, it's installed flush into the drywall, right? It's in the ceiling. I mean, it's like a recessed fixture with no trim.
Yeah, so the way it gets installed is there's a channel that will go into the drywall. So that channel is usually anywhere between 1/2 inch to 1 inch deep, depending on the type of linear lighting you're using, because there's a lot of options based on the application. And so you want to use a different type of channel for different applications. And then the linear lighting actually goes into the channel itself, and then you put a lens over it to diffuse the light, so you're not actually seeing the individual LEDs like you might see, in your teenager's room that has a strip of linear lighting going around the corners of the ceiling.
Or like old bad lighting, right? It was always, you would see all those diodes, because they didn't put the lens far enough away from the front of the lighting, or someone didn't map out the beam angles properly, or it was just old. It wasn't as good as it is now, right? It looks good now.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the big difference right now has been just the amount of availability of different options for what you can do with it.
Yeah.
It's not just that recessed lighting anymore. Now we can do even like drop ceiling style, or we can do a rail that's just hung from a ceiling.
Nice.
So you can do a little bit more abstract and intentional design with it, where you really just didn't have that option.
Yeah, it's really, your showroom is really cool. And you guys do show quite a few options in there, so that people can come in. So if anybody's local in the area, either in Orange County or here in Scottsdale, then do you guys accept appointments from the public, or do you guys work with design only?
Yes and yes.
Either one. Yeah. Either
we
one.
work with good people. That's
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, only good people listen to the podcast, so you're in good hands. So we're speaking to everyone. If you're listening, we're talking to you, and you can reach out to Oasis Luxury Smart Homes and check out what they have. But of course, online you'll see some stuff, and but in the showroom you'll really be able to see what you can do. Another fun thing that you guys have in the showroom are those Samsung frame TVs. They are so thin. How do they even do it? It blows my mind.
Yeah, it's really nice. It turns what normally is a black space on the wall into a functional space for showing art or family photos and things like that. Yeah. And the good news is Samsung has had the monopoly on the market for many years with these frame TVs. And it's a great product, but usually competition creates better products. So Sony has announced that at CEDIA this year they're going to be showing their version of the frame TV. So CEDIA is a industry specific trade show for our industry, where we go meet all these electronics manufacturers and speakers manufacturers, and they show off their latest and greatest stuff. So we got some words that we're going to be getting to see the new Sony version of the same thing. So we'll have some different options to be able to present to our potential clients.
Well, everybody loves options. And you're right, Jeremy, about the options. We were even just talking about the linear lighting, you and I, on a project for the slat wall. And there are so many choices. You can have the fully programmable, just like, I don't know, make it the best, right? And then, or you can have just one color of white light, or you can have the tunable white light, which, again, to explain, if anyone, we have people, our podcast is all about, we want to talk to people about home design, and also it goes to designers and contractors, and just kind of how it all works when you are putting these things together yourself, because sometimes people get really overwhelmed, and sometimes people get overwhelmed by options, but you guys do a really great job of explaining them, and also, kind of making it easy to know, like, okay, for your situation, this or this or this would be good. So what are you guys seeing when you are out on job sites or out working on projects? What's really working well for clients?
Yeah,
everything.
Yeah.
Cover so much.
Honestly, yeah, a lot is going well right now. People are genuinely excited about a lot of stuff that's available these days. It's become a little bit more widely accepted, I would say. So you see a better kind of more inviting market a lot of times. But for me, yeah, the new lighting stuff, even down to automation and how we control how people interact with their home and how their lighting behaves intentionally and how they choose.
Mm-hmm.
That's been the most exciting that I've had
Mm-hmm.
lately. People realizing what can be done and how a lot of the old like cumbersome, eight switch banks and having 15 switches on your living room wall. That's not a thing that's necessary anymore. So getting to do that kind of stuff has been fun.
When
Definitely.
we moved into our house, we had so many light switches. I literally labeled them. I was like, I can't not label them. So
Yeah.
it's like hallway. Because I mean, they did a good job dividing things out, right? Because you want three-way switches so you can enter from both sides, and the fan is separate than the light, or now they're all remote. But anyways, at the time when they built the house, but I was like, I'm just labeling this thing. But I like you have all these automation options where you can use your phone, or you can use we can have a panel on the wall. And I saw at your showroom there's different options, so it can be really like it can be big, like it can look like you're like, hey, I'm a tech guy and I want all the tech stuff. Here I got an iPad on my wall, or it can just be really discreet and it can be just look like a switch. So
Yeah, I would say that, we've gained a lot of traction in the design group, from the interior designers, because, a lot of the products that we're offering now, or that the manufacturers we work with are very design centric, So whereas the integrators used to kind of be kind of a pain in the butt, like interrupting the design, now we're actually part of the design and able to offer products that blend right in and integrate seamlessly into the feel of the room.
yeah, and I was also wanted to hit on, or if you guys can expand on, it doesn't have to just be a new construction. Of course, we like to get everything in, when the walls are open, and we can have all the access to everything, and everything's master planned. But you guys give, there's a lot of options that people can do to just add one thing, or add, you don't have to, your whole house doesn't have to be automated to be able to have some of this, I guess the benefits, right?
Yeah, exactly. So we can add, we have fully retrofittable products, whether it's smart lighting fixtures to smart lighting control, that can go into any existing home without needing to add any additional infrastructure.
Great. And we were joking before we started recording, but the light for some reason in my office is really weird right now. And so it's like beaming on me, like, I'm out in the sun, but I had to keep getting up to turn the different switches on and off. And I said, well, if I had this thing automated, I would just be telling the lights to which ones to turn on and off. So it's a lot. What?
You can definitely make that happen.
Yeah, I know. We should have done it before, so I could be a testimonial. Well, what else should we know about Oasis Smart Homes? Oh, I know that you guys do installations too.
We definitely do installation. Yeah.
I got it.
Yeah, I think for me it's going to be just the way we approach design and the way we approach our customer base. So we try to be a one-stop shop for just about anything. So where people would, go to us for network needs, or for, TVs and audio and that kind of thing, we really are trying to push to be more of a one-stop shop, to work with your designer, to work with your architect, to really make things intentional. I think that's an approach we've had that's been, one, very successful. One, makes our jobs a lot easier because we go based on what the customer wants, and we get to actually have that interaction, and just being able to see that through. That's been something really cool for us. So I think it's something that we offer that I haven't really seen many other places.
That's awesome. Were you going to say something, Scott?
Yeah, just kind of building on that, man. Like I said earlier, I've been doing this for over 20 years, and that when that last day of that final install, that may have been a culmination of 9 months to a year's worth of work, and you hand over that touch screen or that remote, and people get that wow factor. They're like, wow, this is my dream home, and now I have this dream system in it. And giving people that feeling is really kind of like what fires me up and gets me going. And I love the whole process throughout. But that final day is pretty awesome usually.
Absolutely.
That is great. And there's something else. I think I can't remember if you said it, Jeremy, but you guys were talking about at the ASID function how you go in, right? And even if you like you do the installation, right? But say you're not there on the day, but you guys will come out and teach people how to use it. And that was so, I mean, so many things were so cool. I mean, I'm not trying to be like a huge infomercial for you guys, but I'm just saying, like, I was so excited and I have to tell everybody because I can. But you know, I was like, you know what? Like, I need to call some vendors and have them teach me how to use some things in my house because you don't know how to use all of the functions for it, and it's confusing. And even if you learn the first day, you know, at least you know, and you don't remember because maybe there's so many options, or you're just overwhelmed on move-in day or something like that. But that you guys come out and teach people how to use it, and we'll do it more than once.
Yeah, in addition to that, it's continued support. One of the things that I loved about coming to work for Oasis is one of our warranty policy is like we do a full year parts and labor on all things that we've installed, but we continue to service you as a customer for as long as you have the system. And in hopes of building your trust and building that relationship and keeping you as a lifelong customer, because we know at the end of the day that you're going to move up to the next house and you're going to have a new design and a new audio system and a new lighting plan that you want to do. And we want to help you implement that and build that dream and continue that lifelong relationship. And that's one of the things I've really loved about working at Oasis is we don't just say it, we actually follow through with it.
Awesome. I love that. Yeah, it can be overwhelming, you know, smart home technology. And that's, you know, wanted to say, you don't have to do it all, right? But next time you can do more and you can do more, or you can just build on something, but start with something because it really elevates your whole home experience. You know, even one room making, you know, that feature wall or putting in a little bit of technology can change the way that you interact with your space. And we all know, you were already talking, Scott, about wellness, but even sure, circadian rhythm and, you know, how lighting affects us, and we need natural lighting and how we use our spaces, but just being in a space that you love and enjoy and you're happy in, then you're going to be more motivated and more fulfilled. And, you know, it just kind of snowballs into all of these positive things.
Yeah, 100%. And, like you were mentioning, just start somewhere. All of these systems that we install, they're all scalable. So you don't need to do your whole house on the first go around. You don't need to, write a big check on your first go around. Let's start small and give you a little taste and a great experience. And then you can expand upon that.
Yeah. And how about those speakers behind the wall? That was cool.
Oh, those invisible speakers?
Yeah. Am I a dinosaur? Have those been around for a long time?
They actually have been around for a long time. It's just the technology hasn't been there to support the idea. So they've been around for 20 plus years, but it's only been in the past, 3 to 5 years where they actually sound good. Before it sounded very muffled, like you had speakers underwater. And now you actually have a really decent sounding speaker that you can't see. It's completely invisible.
So is it literally just behind drywall? There's a speaker behind the drywall, or is it?
Yeah, absolutely. It goes in during the construction process. It gets mudded in. There's certain requirements about how you can paint over it and things like that, but they're pretty flexible. And once you have a full system in, it sounds pretty awesome.
It sounds so awesome. We're like, where's the speaker? Where's it coming from? Obviously, it was commercial space, so it's not going to be right in your face. But think about that. I mean, I don't know. It's just those little things are so cool. And you're just like, oh, it's back here behind the wall. I was like, wow, that's too fun. It was
if you're ever in Southern California, we're fortunate enough to have some manufacturer partners based here. And one of those being Sonan Speakers, who they make a version of the invisible speaker. And they have an entire demo room with surround sound, with regular 2-channel audio. And it's a really, really cool experience.
That's fun. So do you have to talking a little bit about the parts and pieces of it? So where's all of it housed? Is it all just wired in, or do you have to have like an extra room? I mean, are we creating, server rooms in our houses? What are we doing here?
Go ahead, Jeremy.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say, so if you're referencing like the invisible speakers, they wire pretty much essentially like any other house speaker. Okay. Some of them do have some different requirements, but honestly, when we're speccing it, that's a large part of what we do. It's mainly, getting the bracket and everything. But when we're doing those, generally we're going to do them a lot of times as distributed audio in houses to give kind of a minimal look to be able to still have performance. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's going to get wired to like a central location, but generally, especially if we're doing like a pre-wire and we're doing that from the beginning, we'll have all that done ahead of time. So we wire all of these individually. Um, and then everything gets done kind of to one spot. But you guys, your customer base interacts with it from however they choose to interact with it. So they can control it from phone, they can control it from a device in the home, from computer, whatever they choose is the easiest for them. But yeah, I mean, there's a ton that goes into it. There's a ton of intentional design behind all of it, really.
I'm gonna start carving on these new construction projects. I'm gonna start carving out a server room because I mean, why not?
You
I mean, we're
do.
gonna
Please do. Thank
it's all
you.
gonna come back somewhere, right? So
I'll bring you coffee for life, Stephanie.
we don't need another coat closet. It's Arizona, no coats here. We need a server room. So
Yeah, absolutely.
well ventilated, right?
Yes.
Safe and secure.
And a dedicated electrical circuit.
So, all right, that's what we want to watch out for. What can designers do? Maybe I don't want to say do better, but I mean, look, come on, how can we do better for you guys? How can we help, facilitate these designs with our clients and make them happen? Because we all know that sometimes we have really cool ideas, but we haven't gotten enough information or we haven't brought a specialist like you guys in at the right time. Like, what can we do to really make it happen, to get it not, cut off the list for some other reason at the end of the game?
I would say the earlier, the better, right?
Mhm.
The earlier we can get involved in the design process, the better. And see us as a partner. Don't see us as, a lot of times designers see us as someone that's going to take away from their budget or take away from their design. See us as a partner that we want to work with you and help enhance what you're doing. So, if you're creating this really cool space with the awesome wallpaper, like in your background, and it's maybe like a reading room, let us figure out a way to add some audio in there to enhance that space, or some really cool lighting, thermostat control, whatever that looks like. We want to help enhance your design, and we're not here to take away from you at all.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, and to kind of piggyback off of that, I think we've had this conversation before. It's a lot of the struggle between even designers and our trades is just product knowledge and being aware of what's available and what you
Right.
can and can't do.
Mhm.
I think the most exciting conversation we get to have, especially with designers, is when we tell them about things that they would use every day had they known they existed.
Right.
So, and that happens more often, I think, than a lot of people realize. But that's the big thing for me is just being aware and having that line of communication. Say, hey, look, what's cool, what's new, what can we do that we couldn't do 5 years ago?
Right. And I think it changes so fast, and maybe we're not, always aware of the changes, or one small thing can make something now that was challenging before so much more simple to, get installed, get executed on the job, or to keep into the design. So I agree with that. I have a question though? This is a selfish question. It's about window treatments, motorized window treatments. So what's the deal? Like, the good, the bad, like why wouldn't someone want one, number one? And are they hard? What's the deal? What's the deal with motorized or, electric window treatments?
They can be
So
really.
what's the deal with astrophysics? It's just kind of basic. No.
It seems hard. Where's the electrical come from? Is it a battery? I don't know. Is there a remote? You get all these things and they have extra parts. Do I have to worry about that? I mean, tell me. I want them. I want to tell it to open and close. I don't want to do stuff.
Yeah. Well, first, don't go with a budget brand. Go with that's where you're going to run into some trouble, right? So that's when you're going to run into functionality, or maybe the quality of the fabrics aren't that great. If you're going to do motorized shades, make sure you do them right, first of all. So you want to choose a correct integrator, someone like Oasis, to be able to spec those in, be able to have the right resources so that you can select the right colors and fabrics, and then work with the right manufacturers, like Lutron is a great manufacturer of motorized shades. So combining those three things, and then, measurements, measure.
Oh man, measuring for window treatments, did somebody, everyone can't see me, but I'm just like open, like rubbing my face. Like, it's just so stressful. You know, it's like, was the drywall in? Are they putting, did somebody add casing and nobody told us? You
Right.
know, it's like, are you kidding me? Like, all of these things, it's called tolerance stack. People, everybody listen out there. This is a PSA. We're pausing for a second. Listen, okay? Tolerance stack. Okay. Everything has a thickness. Drywall has a thickness. Wood has a thickness. Wallpaper, the panels that you want to put on, it all adds up. So if you're having someone measure for something finished like window treatments, make sure they know all the changes that you've made, or make sure that all of it's installed, or whatever. But it's called tolerance stack, and it all adds up. So everything has a tolerance. It might be a little bit bigger than what it's supposed to be. And then you have to account for that.
Also account for the stuff that's going to be below the shade. So door handles that stick out, countertops that maybe weren't there when you were measuring during drywall, and then the edge of the countertop comes to the edge of the window. Now the hem bar hits when it drops down. Those are all. I'm running into that exact issue right now on one of my job sites, and we're having to fix one of the shades because there was a countertop that was put into place after the fact once we had already measured.
Yeah, and I mean, it's real. Oh, Jeremy, go ahead.
I was gonna say corners
Yeah.
are they're the other nightmare of shades, especially like seamless corners or pillarless corners.
Yeah.
Because not really a good clean way to get, you know, 4-inch wide shade rollers butted up into a corner. So that's the other thing. But yeah, I'm going to reiterate again, measuring
Yeah.
100%. That is it, from having been an installer myself, as Scott was as well.
Yep.
I cannot tell you how much frustration shades have brought me with poor measurements. It's probably the most frustrating thing we deal
Well,
with.
and it's all that experience combined. I have a story. I was helping a friend with their window treatments. They didn't need me to do this whole thing. Literally, it was 2 windows, and I was helping them, and I was terrified because I wasn't doing it, and I couldn't give them enough cautions of what to do. Like, if we were to like write a downloadable or something, I mean, it would be like a 11 by 17 paper of like, the shade, it needs to be 3 inches wider. If you're doing an overmount shade, you need 3 inches on each side to make sure that the light doesn't leak, right? Unless you don't care. Or is the shade rolling backwards or forwards, so how much gap are you going to have between the wall? The other one, I mean, come on, let's name a few. Like we're helping people out right now. Like, we're saving somebody's whole entire window treatment job, right? So having that extra on the sides. Oh, and the other one, this one kills me. Blackout roller shades. One side of the fabric's white, the other side's black. So listen, friends, okay, you might want it white on the outside and black on the inside, or vice versa, but when you roll it up, you're going to have a big white 4-inch thing at the front, unless you sprung for the big bucks and did the balance, so you've got to know, you've got to think about every single, what else?
So the one we actually just got back from a training with Lutron just a few minutes ago before we started. So one of the things they brought up, and it's probably responsible for the most returned projects with shades in general, is going to be seams and just fabric length tolerances or width tolerances, knowing what fabric is available and what width. And if you have a 14-foot wide window, there's not many fabrics that are going to cover that. So you're going to have a seam somewhere. So there's just different intricacies that come with that. I mean, even for us, we really have to pay attention to that kind of thing, because it can make or break the entire design of a room. And if you have one like that, they call it railroading. They actually rotate that fabric 180 or 90 degrees, turn it over on its side. So if it has a weave or anything, we have to do all the windows in that room that way. Otherwise, you're going to be able to see those fabrics don't line up. So just little things like that. There's so much to consider with shades that you really are at a disservice if you don't come to somebody and say, hey, look, this is what I want to do. Can you help?
And doing an alternative to shades might be doing motorized drapes as well. I just did a system design yesterday. Actually, this customer of mine in San Clemente has a 40-foot pocket door that opens from the center. And so we had to, and the max length of a motorized drapery is 20 feet. So or sorry, 30 feet when we
Yeah.
had it. So you have to do two 20-footers that meet in the middle.
Right.
But it was literally less than half of the cost of doing drapes doing motorized window coverings or motorized shades for that 40-foot window.
Even to also purchase the drapery?
Well, that's on the customer. So
Okay.
the difference is,
Although that's a lot of yards.
yeah, that's the difference. So if we do motorized drapes, then the customer and the designer are responsible for coming up with the design, color, and fabric for the drapes themselves.
And then we have the drapes made, right? So this is a traversing rod, but electric. What is it? Electric traversing rod? What's it called?
It's all low voltage. It's a low voltage motor and
Okay.
everything. Well, just like a motorized shade would be. So you'd be able to walk into a room, hit a scene button, like a good morning scene, and automatically the shades part open and your favorite radio station comes on and the thermostat goes to
Yeah,
70
exactly.
degrees.
It's like, welcome, Stephanie. Good morning, Stephanie.
Yes.
It's going to be, hopefully,
Yeah.
it's going to be 95 degrees today.
Yes,
Coffee's
exactly.
brewing.
Yeah.
And then do you have to program it, or is it available always? Because when we do drapes, right, we say, is it a center draw, or is it drawing to the left or drawing to the right? Is that able to be changed at any time? Like, so you're buying two 20-foot, you're doing two 20-foot rods.
Yep.
What are they called? Am I calling it electric? A
It's just
motorized
drape.
curtain rod.
Yes, motorized drapes. Yeah, that's all it is. So in that particular design instance, we would have two separate draperies or two separate motors. One would be a left draw, one would be a right draw, and they would just meet in the middle.
Okay, and so do you have to order it left draw or right draw, or you program it after the fact?
Well, if you're within the measurement parameters, you have to, to answer your first question, yes, you have to order it left draw or right draw. But if you're in the measurement parameters, my job didn't have to be. So if you're 30 feet or under, you can also order a center draw.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And so just for anybody who's not watching our hand actions, mapping this out, but, center draw is when your drapes come in, they split in the middle and they open up to both sides and you're, very symmetrical. And a left draw or right draw is where all of the whole drapery panel closes to one side or the other. And so for your example, obviously it's because of the limitation of the size of the rod and the hardware. And that can also be the case in real life, I say, or not motorized, but also if there's not enough window treatment or there's not enough wall for the fabric to go and hang on, or if it's on a door, someone might want it to open up all the way one side instead of in the center.
Yeah.
So just give a little context there.
And then another option that's available is with the drapery, the motorized drapery, you can order a single track or a dual track. So you could have like a sheer with a blackout, or you can order, just a sheer or just a blackout.
Okay. So 20 feet, that's huge. That fabric, unless it's sheer, if it's, if it's something that I would love, like, velvet or, some kind of brocade, monstrosity, then that would be so heavy. So
Right.
there's got to be rules about how heavy the fabric can be for the track to work.
Yeah, there would be limitations. And so based on the size of the track and things like that, the manufacturer, in this case, Lutron, will give you, hey, the shade cannot weigh more than this.
Okay.
X amount. So they'll give you a parameter.
Yeah.
They do the same. What's cool about working with the Lutron design tool, online design tool, is they give you the parameters of everything you design. So if you're doing a battery powered shade, for example, it's a retrofit application, you're doing a battery power, they'll tell you exactly how long your batteries should last based on the size of the shade, because they say 3 to 5 years. Well, if you've got a 10-foot wide shade that's also 12 feet tall, that's going to be on the 3-year side of things. Whereas you're just doing like a little kitchen window, that's going to be on the 5-year side of things.
But like, who's ever going to redo the battery? I mean, I feel like that's the kind of thing, it's going to die. And then who's going to get on the ladder for that?
Well, the cool thing about Lutron and the way that the one thing that they considered, and they consider everything in their design because they're awesome.
Sounds like it.
Is they consider how are you going to change the battery? So whatever line of battery powered shades that you're using with Lutron, they have done a fantastic design process on making it super simple to change the batteries.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
I'm
something
in.
else that Lutron does on that side as well is the shades will slow down. They'll give you a 6-week buffer. Say, okay, the batteries are getting low. So that particular shade will slow down 6 weeks before its estimated time of death, we'll call it.
Yeah.
But it'll actually slow down so you know exactly which one it is. And the way they have their hem bar systems, they actually align themselves. So even if that shade is slowed down and it's performing, at a lower rate,
Yeah.
once you change those batteries out, it'll automatically line back up and all those come up and down directly with each other.
Wow. It's like, that's insane. It's like has a life of its own.
Yeah. Well, that's why it's smart. Why it's a smart shade.
I like smart things. That makes me happy. I like pretty things and smart things. Let's go with that. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, this has been amazing. Is there anything else you guys want to add? I've had such a good time. Okay, that's a no. So
we're like just grateful to be here.
No, you guys are so much fun every time I see you, and you have so much information. I have to go find a project to put all these smart things in, and I do have some that we've been talking about in the queue, and we're doing a little here and there, but I have to do top of my list. I'm going to put it on my board here. Is automated window treatments, because that was so fun, and the speakers behind the walls, which seems like it's not that hard. Or it's not that intrusive that we could, slip that into a lot of things, and the light strips in the slat panels and linear lighting up above, right?
Yeah. One more thing that you mentioned that you liked earlier was like the little 3-inch or 4-inch square mud-in light fixtures, right?
Yes.
You can do the exact same thing with the speaker. So, and it doesn't degrade the quality. So you can get like club level SPL, club level sound out of a little 4-inch aperture. That will match the rest of the lighting in your ceiling. So that's another really cool thing.
And I love that. And just last note to say, thank you for highlighting the things that also, help with the design, because it really felt good in the showroom that it wasn't, sure, some spaces you want to feel high tech, you want to be like, this is my technology, but some places you don't, but you still want the technology, and you guys do a great job of it. The installations look beautiful, and all of your help and service. So I am so grateful to have you today, and that's all we have. So if anybody wants to reach out, Kelly, you want to tell us how they can find Oasis Smart Homes?
Yeah, there's a couple ways. You can go to our website, which is www.oasissmarthomes.com. or Instagram handle is Oasis Smart Homes. Or you can email Scott at Oasis Smart Homes, Jeremy at Oasis Smart Homes, Kelly at Oasis Smart Homes. We'll get back to you. So
awesome. Those are all easy to spell. Everything seems great. And thank you for being on the show today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us today. If you loved this episode, please take a moment to leave a 5-star review on your podcast app. You'll be entered in our monthly giveaway for a special gift. Share this episode by taking a screenshot and sharing it on your favorite social app. And don't forget to tag us at Stewart Design Co. and let your friends know where they can get interior design support too. Remember, a year from now, you'll wish you had started today.